What's up, y'all? Sparta here. For this video, this is going to be real quick. One, because it's very terrible lighting in here right now. And two, because it's just a quick impressions and overall thoughts video on the Airpods 3. These are my girlfriend's, so she allowed me to take a look at them and see how they sound and all that stuff. So I'm going to be comparing them to the Soundcore Liberty 3 Pro, the LG Tone FP9, and also FP8, since they're pretty much identical in sound, and the WF1000 XM4 here. And overall, and also just impressions from how they feel compared to something like an AirPods Pro. Since I've had AirPods Pro quite a bit, I can definitely talk on how I feel about these compared to that, and that's what this video is going to be. So overall, this is like a very similar case to the AirPods Pro. It's definitely more square, whereas the AirPods Pro is a little bit wider and is therefore more rectangular. Very nice, though. It is a very nice, small, and compact case, going with Apple's typical thing of making their cases smaller and compact. You have on the back, you have your sync button and I guess your battery level button as well. You open it up and that's how they turn on, and they look like this. Very much like the AirPods Pro, except far wider. They sit in your ear. They're open ear design, which is what people like about the original AirPods. And I will get into how I feel about these in a second. You have your smart sensors for when you take them out of your ear. They obviously work the best on Apple products, but since I have Assistant Trigger on my One Mark III, it pretty much works the same, aside from the fact that it doesn't work unless the phone is both unlocked and the screen is on. So that's one thing that's kind of iffy. But nonetheless, let me get into how I feel about these. So overall, the stem is definitely shortened compared to the original AirPods. Very nice looking here. If I compare them to something like the Tone FP9s here, the Tone FP9 definitely has a shorter stem. Oh my god, really? It's going to be playing music. But yeah, very similar in terms of overall size, but the stem is definitely, in terms of like what the driver casing, but the overall stem is definitely shorter. Let me try to get it to where I'm not holding the stem. But yeah, as you guys can see there, and it's playing music. Let me end Apple Music here so it's not constantly doing that. Yeah, very nice, very small, very compact. These, I believe these get like 6.5 hours of battery life now, whereas the originals got 4.5. But Apple tends to be pretty decent with their earbuds and their battery life. So if you listen to them at a particular volume, say like 60 to 50%, 50 to 60%, you can maybe get like 5.5 to even 6 hours out of, say, the AirPods Pro, which were rated to just have 4.5 hours. So these can probably get even more than just the 6 hours that they claim they can get. So that's very nice. Still have your squeeze gestures on the side here, and able to pause your music and skip a track forward and back. No volume controls. You're still going to have to use your phone for that, or use Siri, or if you have Assistant Trigger, use Google Assistant and able to turn that off, turn your volume up and down. So that's something that you can indeed do. Still in just plain Jane white. Really no issues there, honestly, but I really do wish they would just bring more color options out, not just the same old white. You know, they did very good with the AirPods Max when it came to that, but with their buds, they just don't want to do that for whatever reason. So I want to talk about sound here, because that is very important, and that's something that I feel is definitely going to be something that people are going to want to look forward to when it comes to these earbuds. Do a little bit of a zoom in here. Um, so, in terms of all of these, a comparison, these definitely, both of these have the widest sound out of the four of these earbuds here. The FP9 and the AirPods the AirPods 3. I was about to call them AirPods Pro. The AirPods 3. Due to the open nature of these, you're obviously going to get that more wider sound stage. But with the tuning that these have by Meridian, you definitely get a wide sound stage as well. And I'm pretty confident in saying they're pretty much on par in terms of that, and I feel like both are really good if you want a wide soundstage. Where these give you what these don't is that you get very good bass response. These give you cleaner vocals while not being too crisp or anything like that. Highs don't get too high, like they don't get shrill or anything like that really. Comparing it to like something like a Galaxy Buds 2, which I feel like the moment you listen to those at the highest volume and listen to stuff with a lot of higher end, high vocals and high sounds and stuff like that, those definitely got a little bit too shrill for my taste. But yeah, both of these are very good in terms of that. Vocals are clean on here as well. None of these I would say are warm. There might be a tad bit of warmth with these right here, but it's not really all that bad in my personal opinion. It's not nearly as warm as say the XM4 back here, or even like these kind of are a little bit. But yeah, both of these are probably the most comparable between the AirPods 2 and the XM4s. The XM4s, obviously, all three of these have active noise cancellation and transparency mode, whereas these don't, due to the open back design of these, due to the more open design of these and not having a tip. There's just really no point in putting active noise cancellation on them because you won't get a proper seal. So if you want noise cancellation, you can't go wrong with either of these. Honestly, if you want transparency mode, you really can't go wrong with either of these either. But yeah, or just go with AirPods Pro. Like honestly, but yeah, in terms of these, like I said, more flat. These also have a more flat sound signature. You can get decent bass out of this if the track calls for bass, but it's not going to be an overly punchy bass. It's going to be a little bit more accurate. It's not going to have like a huge hit, like a huge bump or anything like that, but it's definitely satisfying enough, in my personal opinion, to make me enjoy the music that I listen to. The XM4s, very good with sub bass. I don't necessarily feel like they're great with the more like punchy bass at all, but they definitely sound good, and I really have no issues with them whatsoever. In terms of volume, these definitely get louder. Due to the fact that these also have noise cancellation, it kind of makes sense that they wouldn't have the loudest volume in the world, but even then, the FP9s have quite a bit of volume as well, so I guess that doesn't necessarily matter. But both of these are quite good in terms of that. Really have no issues with volume on either of them. In terms of a commute, what I would personally use more is the XM4, mainly because the active noise cancellation is just so damn good and really no issues there. Whereas these, the only reason I wouldn't really use these is because of their open back design. I personally don't like that when, say, I'm on a bus or going somewhere. I would like to have the world be drowned out around me to a good enough extent. So yeah, the XM4s have a more warm sound definitely than these. They do definitely have more bass, but these still are these can, depending on the music, these can be pretty articulate. These can sound really good, and vocals are not terrible, especially for podcasting. I think you can't go wrong with any of these really, but overall, I do feel like the XM4s, aside from also having the best battery out of all of these, it will definitely go 1, 2, 3, and then 4. They're just good all around, and I really do like them, even though they're highly expensive. Next, let's talk a Soundcore. These are probably my least favorite out of the bunch in terms of sound, honestly. The problem that I have with them is that vocals get lost behind the bass a little bit too much, and your mileage may vary depending on your Hear ID customizations that you do through the app. But in terms of how they sounded out of the box, I didn't like them, and even after when I decided to do the Hear ID stuff, I like them a little bit more, but the volume is quite lacking. Vocals get drowned in the bass a little bit too much. And honestly, the only thing I would actually really use these for is for their noise cancellation and their transparency mode as well. Even for podcasts, these would actually be nice, as well as for like say connecting them to say my laptop over here and gaming and game on them, game with them. Really nice there. Not the best. The only ones out of this whole out of all four of these that have a gaming mode are the Tone FP9s, but therefore they're definitely the best in that regard for true wireless and connecting to my laptop and playing games on them. But none of these are like horrendously bad in terms of latency when I'm playing something like Doom 2016, Borderlands 2, Avengers, any of those games. It served me totally fine. Same with like Control or something like that. A lot of shooter games really have no issues there, which is the best way to really test latency. And none of these really have an issue, but the FP9s are definitely going to be the best for that, in my personal opinion. In terms of the AirPods 3, overall, how I feel about them, I really do like them. I'm not going to get any because I don't need any more true wireless earbuds, and honestly, they're just not for me personally. But if you want an open back design and you just want a more improved AirPods, original AirPods, you can't necessarily go wrong with this. One, you get a smaller case. Two, you get a better design, in my personal opinion, with the overall earbuds themselves. And three, they're just overall nice. Value is totally up to you. I'm not going to sit here and say, oh, the value is this or that, because, like I said, it's legitimately up to you. But for me personally, I don't see anyone having that big of a stink going to these over something that has, that have ear tips if they truly value just having that more open back design. This is Sparta. Thank you guys for watching. Thanks for the support. Hope you guys have a wonderful Friday. Well, it's almost Saturday, but Friday, whatever time of day it is in your area. Like the video if you like it, dislike it if you dislike it, share with people that are interested in this sort of content. Have a good one.